Yeah. I was gonna say something else about Keep.
Well, I got a question for you.
Sure.
How did you like the new event site? Because I was incredibly hyped going into Keep. The site looked amazing, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it this year. But from all the pictures that I saw, it looked spectacular, and I didn't hear a complaint from anybody about anything at the site, and that is incredibly rare.
Yeah, we got really, really lucky with this site. So it's a 4-H fairgrounds. So the site itself is kind of built to be like a fair. So they have these pavilions that are set up in such
Mm.
a way that you can actually like. I mean, you could actually drive into them. They're that big. So you have plenty of space for fighting ANS. Like we set up all the tables and all the ANS was outside. We had plenty of room to do everything we needed. There's an actual like merchants row
Yeah.
that has electricity. Like every like pavilion and building has its own like electrical socket and then potable water spigot.
Mm.
So like there is so much available water on that site and everything is there for us to use. Out in the camping, the camping, the way that the campground is set up is that you've got your pavilions over here, and then you walk across a bridge, and then you've got all of your camping to the left, and
Mm.
all of your battle gaming to the right is the way that was set up. And then you come in, like, I think it's gate 3, and then you do your gate and you drive around and you go to your camp and drop off your stuff. So we have that. It might be changing this next keep because we knew there's a couple of logistical issues as far as like people finding the right gate, and they were going
Mm.
to the one gate that Google was sending them to. So we're thinking that maybe we can fix that by just having gate there, and then closing off the other gate and just letting people in to drop their stuff off. That way we don't get
Hmm.
cars there stuck overnight. They can go and park it in the parking lot. Because there
So
is.
you think it will go back to that site in the future? It was a good site that what you think will return to?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cool,
So we
cool,
we are planning on having that site for Keep 12 for next year.
cool.
So that is absolutely part of our bid. We love that site. There's and not to mention just the amenities that we get in that site. We get 2 fully functioning kitchens, not just one, 2. There's a cafe that you can serve out of, and you can cook food in there, and then there's also like a full service commercial
Mm.
kitchen. In the actual, they have a conference center, I think is what it's called, or what they've called it rather. It could be a convention center.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can it's if I from the pictures, if you've ever
Mhm.
been to, if listeners, if you've ever been to a 4-H fair and you walk in and they have the giant room with all the kids, they have all their posters set up and they have all their different things, but then you can go in and sometimes they'll do car shows in there, and then other times they'll do gun shows in there. It's like it's one of those giant convention centers that they can use for a bunch of different things.
Yep, and that's just like the first building. There are so many more buildings that are available to us. Like there's an actual like we had a command center, which was great because
Mm.
that's one centralized location that everybody can meet in. Not that that hasn't happened in the past, but like to have a centralized location that has air conditioning and like everything that you would need for your actual crats is great, and I'm really excited about that. Um, and like there's so much more. Like the horse stadium. I'm not sure exactly
Mhm.
what it's called, but there's actually like a covered fighting arena that we were planning to use for the tournaments, but unfortunately well, I'm saying for this year rather. Unfortunately, they hadn't like pressed the
Mm.
it's not sand or dirt, like whatever, it's dirt, but like it's really dusty,
Mm.
so fighters didn't really want to fight in there. But next year we're planning on having that pressed, so it's easier to fight on. It's not going to be as dusty that way.
Um,
They Mhm.
Imagine a indoor fighting tournament, but on not on like a gym floor. So you don't
Mhm.
have the impact of the on your joints, taking legs and all of those things. And it's, well, from what I saw, incredibly well lit. It
Mhm.
looked awesome. I think using that for like MHOG and doing your tournaments out there would
Mhm.
be really, really cool.
Well, and not just MHOG either. We have Rage Cage every year now,
Mhm.
which is the non-men's tournament that I'm a really big fan of as a non-men myself. So I really like that one. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to participate in this
Mhm.
year, just because of my own responsibilities. I was the ANS crat this year, so I
So
ran
how
the.
did that go?
Yeah, I think it went really great. I got a lot of compliments about just how I executed everything. The way that it was set up is that, on Friday we would have our ANS tournament. It would run from like um, 10 o'clock until 7 or whenever. Wasn't sure exactly how many entries we'd get. I knew it wasn't going to be a lot, just for the nature of
Mhm.
COVID. But I figured I'd give it enough time and enough space to have as many as we needed. um, so it went really well. We had 19 entries, three of those being some fun bardics. We had some really gorgeous garb and belts.
Yeah, I
And
saw I saw Xander's belt. Well, the gift for Xander. I don't know who made it, but it was pretty
yes, that was actually Leathan from Taldagor. He
cool.
actually took second place. He put in three total entries, and he did like these leather cards that were tooled to look like players
Hmm.
in TD. So it was super cool. They were leather cards,
Yeah,
and
that's neat.
yeah, and then he did like a landscape, like painted landscape, like terrain, an actual like block of terrain, which was super cool. And
So
then
let me guess. There are only two things that are allowed to win ANS tournaments in Amgard. Was it either A, Garb, or B, a Bardic?
so the guy that took number one did have a really kick-ass bardic. I mean, like, and not just so much in the sense that he is like standing there singing. Like, no, this is like a full-on show.
Oh, cool.
It was so much fun. He had two other castmates. And the way that we had set it up is that there were two people that had entered the bardic, and they would get the same score for the bardic, and it would count toward um their overall total.
Mhm.
So we didn't do like the 0 to 5 scale because I just think that that's silly. It's dated for sure, but we did. You could get so many points for like presentation, wow factor, like your overall construction, your showmanship. There's just a bunch
Mhm.
of them. I'd have to pull it up to remember
Yeah.
everything, but you could get a total of like 50 points per judge, and then we would divide that by the number of judges that there were, and that would be your overall school score. You'd get like an average. Um, and so the guy that won put in the bardic. He also put in a guitar build that he did. It was
Hmm.
a pirate guitar build.
I saw that. That was pretty cool. I saw a picture of that one. That was neat.
Yeah, that was super cool. And I'm trying to remember what his third entry was because it was equally as cool. But let me pull
What
that up here.
what was best in show?
Best in show went to Lathan,
Cool.
or
Cool.
yeah, actually, because for his belt.
Awesome.
And then we had an honorable mention for Gma. She put in two gorgeous pieces of garb. She did like a gypsy set,
Mm.
and then she'd also put in her 50th wedding anniversary dress. And I was so blown away by the quality of that dress. Like
She's awesome. Not only is her stuff top notch, she's an amazing person.
yes,
She